Three racist, rich women got bored at their tea party and decided to place a bet on a black delivery man. They forced him to dance, hoping he would embarrass himself so they could use him for entertainment. But they got the biggest shock of their lives, and by the end of this story, they would know they had messed with the wrong black man. If you believe in what's right, in treating people fairly no matter their race, the color of their skin, or the size of their wallets, prove it. Hit that subscribe button and join the movement. Only people who do not care for justice will not subscribe. Malik Johnson had spent years working hard, juggling multiple jobs to support his sick mother and younger sister. At 28, he had learned to keep his head down, work long hours, and do what needed to be done. But deep down, he had a passion that never faded: dance. It was the one thing that made him feel free. Yet, life never gave him the chance to pursue it. Instead, he spent his days making deliveries, carrying heavy packages, and dealing with people who barely looked at him. One afternoon, Malik pulled up to Victoria Kensington's mansion, a massive estate with towering gates and a long driveway. Victoria was a wealthy socialite, born into money, and used to getting whatever she wanted. She never worked a day in her life, spending her time hosting afternoon coffee gatherings with her two closest friends, Evelyn and Charlotte. Like Victoria, they were rich, entitled, and bored. They found entertainment in mocking people they saw as beneath them. Inside the lavish porch, the three women sipped on imported coffee, their expensive jewelry glinting under the sun rays. As Malik approached the front door with a large luxury package, Victoria caught sight of him through the gate. She smirked. "Look at this one. He looks so serious." Evelyn leaned forward, amused. "Another one of your deliveries?" Charlotte chuckled. "Maybe we should have some fun. I could use a little entertainment." Victoria's eyes gleamed with mischief. "Let's see if he's got any rhythm. Let us place a bet and make him dance for us." I bet that he would not dance well at all. The other women agreed and placed their own bets too. They all bet that Malik would make a fool of himself. When Malik rang the doorbell, Victoria took her time answering, making him wait outside. Finally, she opened the door, her expression playful. "You're right on time," she said, eyeing him up and down. Malik nodded, keeping his face neutral. Delivery for Victoria Kensington. Victoria took a slow sip of her coffee, not reaching for the package. Instead, she tilted her head and smiled. "Tell me something," she said. "Do you dance?" Malik frowned slightly, confused. "Excuse me?" Evelyn and Charlotte giggled from inside. Victoria's grin widened. "We were just wondering if you had any moves. Why don't you show us?" Malik kept his composure. But he could already tell. This wasn't a question. It was a setup. Victoria leaned against the doorframe, watching Malik with an amused expression. She had found her entertainment for the afternoon. "Let's see if the delivery boy has any rhythm," she said, smirking. Evelyn and Charlotte giggled, already assuming the worst. To them, this was just another game, another joke at someone else's expense. Evelyn leaned in. "Let's make it interesting. If he's any good, we will give him $3,000. Charlotte grinned. "Deal." Victoria laughed. "I'm in. Let's see what he's got." Malik stood still, processing what was happening. He wasn't a fool, he knew their type. Rich, entitled, and cruel. They weren't asking. They were mocking him. A part of him wanted to walk away, but he knew better. People like this didn't like being refused. If he denied them, they might call his employer, file a fake complaint, or make trouble for him. He needed this job. So instead, he took a deep breath and kept his face blank. "Fine," he said calmly. Evelyn pulled out her phone, scrolling through music. "Oh, let's make this even funnier. Something fast. Something ridiculous." She tapped the screen, and a loud beat filled the air. Charlotte shook her head, laughing. "This is going to be embarrassing." Victoria sat back on the couch, stirring her coffee lazily. She didn't even try to hide her amusement. "Go on then, show us what you've got," she said. "I put hours into researching and telling these stories for your viewing and educational pleasure. The least you can do, just tap that little red button. It takes half a second, but means the world to me. Also, let me know where you are watching this story from today. Drop your location in the comments." Malik exhaled slowly, then took his first step. They had no idea what was coming. Malik closed his eyes and took a slow, deep breath. The music played, a fast-paced beat meant to make him look foolish. He could hear their quiet laughter, their whispered bets, their expectation of failure. But when he moved, everything changed. His body flowed effortlessly, smooth and controlled, every step hitting perfectly with the rhythm. His arms cut through the air like a dancer trained for years. His feet glided across the marble floor, moving with grace and precision. His posture, his control, everything about him screamed professional. The laughter stopped. Victoria, Evelyn, and Charlotte sat motionless, their amusement fading with every second. Malik's movements built with the music. His footwork became sharper, faster. He spun with ease, his balance flawless. Then, in a fluid motion, he dropped low into a seamless glide across the floor, a move so smooth it looked unreal. His arms extended as he rose back up, twisting into a perfect turn. Evelyn's coffee remained untouched in her hands. Charlotte's smirk had vanished, her lips slightly parted in shock. Victoria, the one who started it all, didn't move. Her eyes were locked on him, her face frozen, her ego unraveling. Then came the final moment. Malik executed one last powerful spin, landing in a sharp, dramatic pose. His head tilted slightly, his expression unreadable. He wasn't dancing for them, he was proving a point. And then silence. For the first time in their lives, Victoria, Evelyn, and Charlotte had nothing to say. Victoria forced a smile, trying to act as if she wasn't shocked. She lifted her coffee cup with steady hands, pretending she had expected this outcome all along. "Well," she said lightly, "I suppose that was entertaining." But her voice lacked its usual confidence. Evelyn and Charlotte weren't fooled. They exchanged quick glances, both knowing the truth. Victoria was just as stunned as they were. Charlotte cleared her throat awkwardly. I guess we were wrong." Evelyn nodded, still watching Malik with wide eyes. "That was actually incredible." Malik said nothing. He didn't smirk, didn't gloat. He had nothing to prove to them. Instead, he simply bent down, picked up his bag, and straightened up. His face was calm, unreadable. "That'll be $3,000 for winning your bet," he said, his voice steady. Victoria's hand twitched slightly as she reached for her credit card. The moment had flipped against her. She had planned to humiliate him, to laugh at his expense, but now she was the one feeling small. Her fingers gripped the card tightly before she handed it over. Malik swiped it, printed and handed it back without a word. The silence in the room was thick. Victoria sat still, her usual arrogance replaced with something new, humiliation. She had lost. Malik turned and walked toward the door, his job done. He didn't need their approval. He had already won. Malik stepped out of the mansion, his posture strong, his head held high. The sun hit his face as he breathed in the fresh air. Inside, Victoria, Evelyn, and Charlotte sat in stunned silence. The laughter was gone. The smugness had faded. The game they thought they were playing had turned against them. Charlotte stared at the floor, still processing what had happened. Evelyn slowly shook her head, whispering, "Unbelievable." Victoria, usually full of confidence, sat frozen, gripping her coffee cup as if it could undo the last few minutes. None of them spoke. There was nothing left to say. Outside, Malik walked toward his delivery van, feeling lighter than he had all day. He had been tested, mocked, and underestimated, but in the end, they were the ones left embarrassed. As he got into his van, he took one last glance at the mansion, then drove away victorious. Inside, Victoria's coffee had gone cold. For the first time in her life, she had lost. If you believe in justice, equality, and the fight against police brutality, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Together, we can amplify these stories, demand change, and ensure that no more innocent lives are humiliated or lost. Hit that subscribe button now, because not hitting it would mean you want to be silent. I upload 2 stories every day. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. The end.